Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Tuesday, May 29th. This is Gina McGuire. Over the next couple of days, we will see some increases to fire potential over the southern half of the Great Basin as a trough of low pressure moves in, increasing winds on Wednesday over southern Nevada into the Arizona Strip and southwest Utah with low relative humidity. And then on Thursday, these winds will continue in the same areas and spread eastward over southern and eastern Utah. This is the area of the Great Basin where the fuels are most critical, and there are some fire weather watches in effect for parts of the Arizona Strip on Wednesday and Thursday. Winds will also increase on Wednesday over parts of the Sierra Front into western Nevada with gusts above 30 or 40 miles per hour with some low relative humidity. However, fuels are not quite cured in these areas, but in areas where we are seeing our grasses transition in the curing process, we could see some fire spread if we see ignitions. We will also continue to see scattered showers and thunderstorms over the northern half of the Great Basin over the next few days, but similar to recent weeks, these thunderstorms will have precipitation. Over the last 24 hours, we've seen scattered thunderstorms across Idaho, Utah, and over northeast Nevada, and these thunderstorms have produced anywhere from up to 1/10 of an inch of precipitation to over 1/3 of an inch of precipitation, especially over the northern half of Utah, eastern Idaho, into northeast Nevada. We've had no significant fire activity across the Great Basin over the last 24 hours. Looking at the precipitation over the last 7 days, the image on the left shows that precipitation with these thunderstorms has been continuous over the northern half to 2/3 of the Great Basin. Southern areas still remain dry over the last week. Looking at the last 30 days, the percent of normal precipitation is shown in the image on the right, and you can see above normal precipitation in areas of Nevada into western Utah and also up into Idaho. However, southern and eastern Utah has remained near to below normal with regards to the last 30 days of precipitation along with the Arizona Strip where conditions have been very dry. Looking at the current ERCs across the Great Basin, we are seeing our highest ERCs above the 80th percentile over eastern and southeast Utah and into parts of the Arizona Strip. Further north, ERCs are still fairly moderate, but we will continue to see those lower elevation grasses continue to dry out over the next week. Looking at live fuel moistures as sampling has started across the Great Basin, looking over southern Nevada, we are seeing very dry conditions in the higher elevation pine, with fuel moistures well below normal and near historical lows. Over eastern Utah, looking at sagebrush fuel moisture, it is well below normal and approaching historic lows for the time of year. Over central Nevada, we are seeing sagebrush moisture above normal or near to above normal over central and northern Nevada, and then we are seeing above normal fuel moistures further north in wetter areas of the Great Basin. The satellite loop from this morning shows an exiting trough of low pressure over the eastern half of the Great Basin, which will continue those showers and thunderstorms today. We do have another trough of low pressure that will be approaching the west coast, and out ahead of this low is where the winds will increase over southern areas of the Great Basin and western areas, and also where we'll see additional showers and thunderstorms over the coming days. However, in the meantime, we have a brief ridge of high pressure moving in over the western half of the basin, which will allow drier conditions for the most part and above normal temperatures. Looking at the weather pattern later today, again, we have that weak ridge of high pressure moving in across the Great Basin, keeping temperatures about 5 to 8 degrees above normal. But we will see those showers and thunderstorms continue later today over parts of the eastern half of the Great Basin, and also we'll see some isolated thunderstorms with some rainfall develop in the Sierra into far northwest Nevada this afternoon. Fire potential will remain low across the Great Basin today and only moderate in the far south. Today we'll see the driest conditions with relative humidity below 15% over southern areas of the Great Basin and higher as you move further north into Idaho. Winds will be generally low to moderate today, but we will see some breezy winds as thunderstorms develop along the Sierra Front later this afternoon, with most gusts below 30 miles per hour. On Wednesday, conditions begin to change over southern areas of the Great Basin as the trough of low pressure approaches the west coast. We will see very dry conditions in the south along with increasing winds, and we'll also see those showers and thunderstorms spread further north over the northern half of the Great Basin. Therefore, fire potential will remain low in the north where we'll see wetting rains in some areas with those thunderstorms, but will remain a little bit higher with transition of fuels into western Nevada as winds increase and also in the far south. Looking at the relative humidity, again, relative humidity lowest in the south where relative humidity will drop to below 10% in some areas and will be generally moderate further north. Wind gusts out ahead of that low will be fairly gusty on Wednesday over the Sierra Front into western Nevada with gusts above 40 miles per hour and also see those winds increasing over southern and eastern Nevada into the Arizona Strip and western Utah. Generally in those areas, gusts between 30 and 40 miles per hour as well. On Thursday, that trough moves a little bit further east into western Nevada, spreading those showers and thunderstorms again over the northern half of the Great Basin. We will also see those drier conditions with the gusty winds spread a little bit further eastward on Thursday. Therefore, we do have some high risk for the Arizona Strip into far southern and southeast Utah, as those are the areas of the basin where fuels are cured, and the winds will be gusty with low relative humidity. On Thursday, the relative humidity is shown in the image on the left. We will see relative humidity over parts of southern and eastern Utah below 5 to 8%, so very dry conditions, along with those increasing southwesterly winds between about 30 and 40 miles per hour. We will have winds increase in strength quite a bit on Thursday from what we'll see on Wednesday over parts of southern Nevada and western Utah, and relative humidity will still remain below 15%. However, fuels in many of those areas have not quite cured out, but if we do see starts in some low elevation grasses, then we could see the potential for some spread in those areas. The overall forecast amount of precipitation is shown here. Again, it will be fairly spotty with those thunderstorms, but we will see anywhere from 1/10 to over 1/3 of an inch of rainfall each day from any of the thunderstorms over the northern half of the Great Basin. As we move towards Friday, this trough of low pressure that's moving through the Great Basin this week will move over the northern Rockies. Therefore, drier and warmer conditions are expected across the Great Basin, with generally low fire potential and only moderate in the far south and east. These conditions will continue into Saturday, with temperatures generally 5 to 8 degrees above normal, with continued dry conditions. Sunday also will see those dry conditions. We could see some showers over the central Idaho mountains, but for the most part, very low relative humidity, drier conditions, and moderate winds across the area, with only moderate fire potential in the south. On Monday, we have another trough of low pressure that is moving in off the west coast, so we may see winds increase, but still generally dry weather across the basin, with the exception of possibly far northwest Nevada. Overall forecast amounts of precipitation, again, this takes us for the next 7 days, most of which is occurring over the next few days over the northern half of the Great Basin, with drier conditions this weekend into early next week. The 8 to 14-day outlook, which takes us into the second week of June, shows these continued warm temperatures over much of the United States, and generally drier conditions over the northern and eastern half of the Great Basin. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates. As a reminder, these fire potential webcasts will be issued daily through fire season.